So let's talk about how to program your subconscious mind to scale your company so that you can achieve success and also have freedom. Now, I'm gonna dive into that in a second. And before I do that, why would you listen to me? Just a few years ago, my credit cards were maxed out, I had my car repossessed, and I was in complete financial strife. And it wasn't from a lack of trying. From the age of 30 to 30 years old when I had this issue, I worked my butt off. I would work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, 6, 7 days a week for over a decade. And somehow I ended up in this financial ruin. And almost every year for those years, I made six figures or even multiple six figures, but yet I was still not where I wanted to be. Well, once I discovered the power of hypnosis, and actually this is what transitioned me into becoming a hypnotist, I realized the reason it wasn't from a lack of effort. It wasn't from a lack of the right opportunity, and had everything to do with my subconscious beliefs that were keeping me from continuing to grow and also keeping the money and abundance that I had created. And so I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually do that. Now, fast forward just a few years later, we've done almost $15 million of revenue through doing hypnotherapy sessions, training people in hypnosis. We do events. We've scaled our team to over 30 people. And so I'm speaking from experience to go from the bottom of the bottom to having some success. Now listen, I'm not the best business coach. I'm not here to tell you what to do in your business and the strategies. Okay, I'll leave that up to you. What I am going to tell you about is how to program your subconscious mind to start to create that success. Now, not only have I done that for myself, this is what we do with our clients. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the past few years have gone through these transformations of reprogramming their subconscious minds and seeing massive success in their businesses as scaling entrepreneurs. So let's dive in. So this is going to sound crazy, but a few years ago, I created this sleep hypnosis where essentially you listen to it while you're sleeping at night. And it was all about creating success and financial abundance. It's programming your mind to believe that essentially you can make more money. And the reason I did it is because at the time, this is really before I started to scale and build my team, I was only working with business owners and entrepreneurs. So people would come to me, they're making, $15,000, $20,000 a month. They feel stuck. They've been there for a while and they know that it's not a strategy, but it's something going on internally that's holding them back from scaling. So we would do these sessions and people were having these amazing transformations. Their businesses just almost overnight would start to scale and become successful. So what I decided to do to improve the process, because up until that point, I had just been doing one-on-one sessions. So I said, I'm going to create this sleep hypnosis that programs their mind to make more money so that in between our sessions, they had something to continue to build on rather than just our sessions alone. So I gave this sleep hypnosis to my clients, and right away I was getting tons of great feedback. People were telling me, Dom, I got people that are paying their invoices that have been pushing it off forever. My calendar is filling up with appointments. They're closing deals out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is actually working. Now then, very shortly and around the same time, I had other feedback from other clients. And some clients said that when they listened to the recording, it sounded distorted, almost like it was broken or muffled or something was wrong with it. Now, my initial thought was that I created the sleep hypnosis. By the way, it was the first time I created a sleep hypnosis. So I was thinking, maybe I messed up with the technology or the sound, or maybe it was because I created it on my MacBook and it's not working on an Android, or maybe they need to update their phones. So I'm just thinking it's a technical issue. It was something that was going on with the technology, right? So then fast forward, this is maybe a couple weeks after I introduced this. Actually, no. I introduced it April, and then by October-ish of that year, so 6 months later, here's what happened. A client messaged me one day, and she said, Dom, something is wrong with your sleep hypnosis. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? And she said, well, I could hear it for the first 3 days, but now it sounds distorted. Like it sounds like I can't hear it anymore. And I said, that's strange. Why don't you just record what you're hearing and send it to me? So she records what she's hearing on my recording, my sleep hypnosis, that's all about creating money. And when I listened to it on my iPhone and our text messages as a screen recording, I could hear it perfectly fine. Well, about an hour went by and she messaged me back and she said, Dom, I think I'm going crazy. So I'm like, what's going on? And she said, I just shared your recording, the sleep hypnosis, with my partner. We are in the same exact room. We're listening to the same exact thing, and my partner can hear it perfectly fine, but I can't understand a word. She said it sounds like it's in a different language. So when I'm reading this on my text message, I'm thinking, like, what the heck is going on? This doesn't make any sense. How is that even possible that you're hearing something that's spoken in perfect English and a few days later, your brain is not processing it auditorily anymore and other people around you can hear it? Like that doesn't seem possible. And I know some of you may be watching this video, may think it's not. So I didn't know what was going on. So I said, you know what, let's just talk about it in our session next week. So we hop on Zoom. We do all our sessions on Zoom, me and my team. And, I want to see this for myself. I'm not just going to take her word. I'm like, okay, this is too out of the box. This is too crazy. I got to see this. So I share my screen. I play the recording. And sure enough, I could hear it as clear as you can hear me now. Hopefully this isn't distorting on you. And she couldn't understand a word. She could read the captions that were on the screen, the subtitles, but it wasn't processing auditorily. So again, I'm thinking, I don't know why this is happening and I don't even know what to do, but I'm just going to go with my instincts. And what my instincts told me is, okay, the sleep hypnosis is all about creating money and success, right? It's all about increasing your financial thermostat. And I say manifest in the sense of you're attracting it in. I'm not saying you not do anything. What I'm saying is that you still continue to take the same actions you're already taking, except the actions get more results, okay? So I figured, okay, if her mind's not letting her hear this recording, it's because she has fears and limiting beliefs around what is being said in the recording. So what I did is I put her in hypnosis and I started asking her subconscious mind some questions. And here's what we discovered. We discovered that she had all of these limiting beliefs around what was being said in the affirmation. So by the way, I'll share with you what it says, okay? And if you're liking this so far, like the video, hype it so other people can see this to help them improve their businesses. And also, if somebody wants to write this in the comments, you guys can write it so you can come back and view it and look at it and see it again. So the affirmation says this: large sums of passive money come to me easily and quickly from multiple sources on a consistent basis, and it's in the best good of all. I can keep, save the money, give the money away, whatever I decide to do, I can do it happily. So that's what it says. So again, if you want to pause it and write it, you can. So what we discovered is she had these limiting beliefs around each individual phrase, right? So first part, large sums of passive money. So when I asked her subconscious mind, why are you not letting her hear, subconscious mind, why are you not letting her hear large sums of passive money? It's because she said, well, it's because, she's under hypnosis. She goes, well, it's because I believe that I have to work hard in order to deserve it. And it can't come passively. Like I have to physically put in the effort. And listen, I completely understand what she was saying there, because from 18 to 30, again, my working career, when I used to do insurance, I used to believe the same thing, that I had to work hard, I had to earn it, I had to deserve it, and it couldn't just come easily. Right? It couldn't just come passively. I had to struggle for it. And so I said, okay, so the next part is large sums of passive money come to me easily and quickly. So her brain said, no, it can't come easily. It has to be a struggle and it can't come quickly. In other words, it has to take a long time in order to make money. The next part is from multiple sources. And her subconscious mind said, well, if I have multiple sources, I won't be able to handle the source I already have. So in other words, I can't manage multiple things going on at once. I can only get money from one source. And on a consistent basis, okay, again, her subconscious mind is blocking her. You know what's interesting is, now by the way, this phenomenon, okay, has happened to hundreds. I'm talking hundreds, multiple hundreds of people. It may almost be at 1,000 now, because we've had well over 10,000 people go through this program. And not everybody, here's the thing, not everybody listens to it consistently enough. Like some people will sign up and then they don't even listen to it, right? But many of the people that do actually listen to the sleep hypnosis, they put it on at night, many, and by the way, I have clients who are worth millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, and they'll start listening to the recording, and you wouldn't think they'd have blocks around money. Clients that are more successful than me, and they'll start listening to the recording, and the same exact thing happens. So if you're somebody who's a 6 or 7 or multiple 7-figure or 8-figure earner, don't just think, oh, I'm good with money, I'm fine. No, it's at every level. So anyways, we go through the affirmations, right? And we find where are these beliefs coming from. So basically what happens is, what we do is when a client has a belief, like example, I have to work hard in order to deserve money. What we do is we take them back to where these beliefs started from. And more often than not, it's either their childhood or something that was passed down genetically from their parents. So in other words, if her father or her grandfather struggled really hard to make money, believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, those memories are encoded in the DNA and they're passed down to us. So have you ever heard the saying like, alcoholism runs in my family, or this particular anxiety runs in my family? All that stuff is true. It's because those habits and beliefs are encoded in the DNA. So when we have children, they often get a lot of our habits and behaviors. So often, believe it or not, and there's a way through hypnosis where you can actually identify if it is a genetic belief. And this is so crazy, guys. I know it sounds crazy and some of you aren't going to believe me. And I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why. Because what am I just going to publicly come out and just make up a bunch of stuff just to come on, that's ridiculous. So there's a way through hypnosis where you can go into the subconscious, figure out the genetic memory of where these beliefs came from, and you can let them go. And in a matter of minutes, you can take a belief that has not only been plaguing you since the day you were born, you could take a belief that's been passed down for multiple generations and get rid of it like this. And all of a sudden, when you start getting rid of these limiting beliefs, everything begins to open up. So here's what happened. When I went through the recording, getting back on track, or when I went through the questions, one by one, we released all her limiting beliefs, right? She felt guilty for being successful. She was also afraid that if she made a lot of money, her friends and family would be jealous and envious of her. She felt guilty, all these different things. So we go through, we do this, go back, is it genetic? Is it a childhood thing? And we let go. And I kid you not, hand to God, God, strike me down now if I'm making this up, okay? When I bring her out of hypnosis, I play the same exact recording, and guess what? What do you think you know what the answer is? You can type it below if you think you know. Pause it and type it below. Well, guess what? She could hear the recording all over again. Isn't that crazy? Okay, isn't that crazy? Now, I'll take it one step further. You want to hear one step further? This is even crazier than that. And by the way, listen, again, if you don't believe me, I bet you some of our clients will probably type in the comments if they're watching this, say, no, this happened to me, this happened to me. I'm telling you, and you can go look at their profiles and see if they're bots. I don't care, okay? So here's even crazier, okay? So this is like October 2021. Well, I want to say November, December, around this time, I was teaching a class to our clients on how to create your own sleep hypnosis affirmation. So in other words, there's an app you can go on and you write out your affirmations, and then you take your phone and you say it into the app or into your microphone, and it captures it on the app. And then what it does is it'll play it on loop while you're sleeping throughout the night. So you can do affirmations around money, relationships, anything. So I'm teaching my clients how to do this. Here's how you set up your affirmations. Here's the technology. Here's how to record it. Here's how you listen to it. And guess what happened? Guess what? If you want to guess, you can pause and guess down below. Within a few days, there were clients that their own voice and their own words, meaning I didn't tell them what to say. All I said is, this is how you do it. Go figure it out on your own. And their own voice started distorting on them. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine talking into your phone and you're saying an affirmation, and then 2-3 days later, you cannot hear your own voice? You would legitimately think you're going crazy. You would think that you're in an alternate universe and this is not actually happening, okay? Now, the cool thing is with these clients who have this distortion that happens is that we were able to go into their subconscious mind, clear out what was there so that they could now hear it again and start to draw that into their lives. Now, let me explain to you why this happens. And again, I'm explaining this to you as a scaling business owner and entrepreneur, and here's why. If you have a belief that it has to be a struggle, it has to be hard, that it can't come easily, all these different things, you're afraid that you won't be able to handle the success, you can't handle multiple sources of income, it can't come passively, whatever, okay? If you have these beliefs, what will happen is you will work really, really hard for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, and your business will never get to the success that you want it to get to. And here's why this is, okay? Our subconscious mind, when we take in information, it either deletes, distorts, or generalizes the information that we're receiving based off of our belief systems. So what does that mean? Okay, so let me break this down. You ever heard the saying, it's like it went in one ear and out the other? You guys know what I'm talking about? Hit the like button if you've ever heard that before. It went in one ear and out the other. Well, often the reason that happens is because whatever you're telling that person, if their subconscious mind does not align with what's being said, it will literally delete it as if it didn't even exist. Okay, we have something in our brain called the critical faculty. And the critical faculty's job is to check in with your subconscious mind to see if what you're being fed aligns with your beliefs. And if it doesn't align with your beliefs, it will not allow it to make a change at a subconscious level. So this is what was happening when people were listening to the recording, right? So next is it distorts information, okay? So again, when people are hearing this audio of the affirmation about money and success, because their subconscious, their critical faculty checks into the subconscious, say, hey, subconscious mind, are we allowed to have large sums of passive money come to us easily and quickly? And the subconscious mind says no, because it has to be a struggle. It has to be hard because that's what I learned growing up, or that's what was passed down to me. So then what will happen is instead of it allowing you to sink in, your brain will distort what you're hearing, just like it did with the recording. Okay, and the last thing it does is it generalizes information. So what does that mean? Well, if let's say you're a man or woman that's in a relationship and you had a really bad relationship with a woman or a man and you were betrayed, you were cheated on. Well, what can happen sometimes is we will think all women are this way or all men are this way, although they're not. Because we have this one experience, we start to generalize everything else. So we kind of take this broad brush and just brush it over every single experience. So guess what ends up happening? If you think all men are this way or all women are this way, you now, as you go through your life, that's what you're seeing through your perception. So you will create situations, circumstances, and events that prove to you that all women are this way or all men are this way. Or the same thing in business. It'll prove to you that it has to be hard to struggle, et cetera, et cetera. So the best thing that you can do as a business owner is start to identify what these blocks are. And by the way, I've had many people tell me this, and still yet for one to be correct. People go, I know what my blocks are. I know what my problem is. I've never, not one time, had somebody who knew exactly what it was. Often people have a good general idea, but they don't know the pattern and they don't know where it's coming from. And they think, oh, it's coming from my childhood, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's a genetic memory. Or they think it's coming from this thing with their childhood, but it's a completely different thing. I've worked with thousands of people. My team has worked with thousands of people. And I personally, I don't know about my team. I'm sure they're the same, but I've never had somebody that said, I know what it is, and it's exactly what they say. Never, okay? That's a pretty big statement to make. It's just the truth. So what happens is when people have these blocks, again, like I said, you can work your freaking butt off and things will never change. So what you got to do is, number one, identify what the beliefs are in the first place, right? Which common beliefs are, I'm not good enough to scale, I'm not good enough to grow, I'm not good enough as a leader. I have a fear that when I'm successful, my friends and family will be jealous and envious of me, or when I'm successful, people will try to steal it, people will come after me. When I'm successful, I won't be able to handle it, it'll be too much, whatever, okay? So you got to go into the subconscious mind and figure out what are the beliefs, and number two is, where is it coming from? So if you have that fear of what's your friends and family going to think, where's it coming from? Is it a memory from your experience from when you were 3 years old? Is it something that happened to you, your mother, when you were, during her pregnancy? Is it something that even happened before you were born? And once you identify what it is and you shift the meaning of it, meaning you shift the perspective of how your subconscious mind was perceiving it, again, I'm telling you, this is I know it's hard for people to believe. And I get it. I used to be a skeptical person, and I would listen to somebody like this and go, no, I don't believe it. Can't be that easy. I'm here to tell you it is that easy. In a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, you can get rid of a belief that is literally holding you back from making you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars over your lifetime. You know, if I look back on my life now, for those 12 years from 18 to 30, where I was just up and down, up and down, up and down, I at minimum, lost $8-9 million, guaranteed, because of these beliefs, guaranteed. In other words, if I went back with the beliefs that I have now, and I started at 18 and I went to 30, I would have made an extra $8 million, at least, bar none, probably even more, to be real, okay? So listen, if you're a scaling entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're like, okay, you're putting in the work. You're not like just starting, like you're putting in the work day after day, week after week, and you're not scaling as much as you'd like or as fast as you'd like, or maybe you're seeing some success, but it's not staying there. You get little pops here and there. One month you have a good month, the next month not so good. The next month it's kind of up and down, okay? I'm telling you right now, it is something in your subconscious mind. And a beautiful thing happens when you're doing the work, okay? You're putting in the effort. This is not gonna work if you're not working. I just take that right, law of attraction, let's draw it in and not do anything. This is not for you. This is for the people who are putting in the effort. You're grinding, you're hustling, you're getting it done, except it's not growing. I'm here to tell you it has nothing to do with the work that you're doing and everything to do with your subconscious beliefs. And once you remove those subconscious beliefs, you will start to create more success faster than you ever have before, okay? So if this message resonates with you guys, I'm gonna put a link down in the description for you to book a free consultation with one of my certified hypnotists on my team to do 2 things. Number 1, to see first and foremost if hypnosis is even a good fit for you. And number 2, see what those beliefs are to see if we can actually help you to remove them so you can continue to scale your business and grow, okay? So again, if you're a scaling business owner who's doing the work, you're putting the effort, and you wanna scale faster, okay, click the link down in the description and book your free consultation now.